and filled it in there like an ice cube tray, and then froze the chicken fat. And the cat eats the chicken fat,
Nice.
licks it like a chicken pop.
Yeah. My dog's a penny ass.
Yeah, my mom's dog just got parvo, so but they caught it really early, so they're giving it medication and stuff. And like the only thing that he can eat is boiled chicken and rice, I think. Just seems. I'm like, I didn't even know. I'm like, I didn't even know that was a thing. Like that, they had to have a special diet and all this stuff. But my sister is going to school with like this vet tech stuff, so she knows what she's talking about.
Yeah, I don't know how much longer this cat's gonna make it.
Oh, which one?
Well, she was throwing up blood 4 or 5 years ago. The doctor said she only had a few days to live. And my son started feeding her lunch meat turkey and kept her going. And she's just really thin. And 17 years old. So,
damn.
Yeah, 17 alone is enough for a cat.
Yep.
They don't need to be sick for anything else. Just 17 is a long time. And so we've been letting her outside, letting her enjoy, because I don't think she has much time left. And it's real hot. So we were worried that she wasn't able to handle it. So I came up with the idea of the chicken sickles.
Nice.
Smart thinking.
Tomorrow I got to go get another 10 pounds of chicken, I think. I get 10 pounds of pork for $14. I might do that. It's a great way to. It's a fantastic store for being able to afford to live.
What store is it?
It's called Fairway. It's only in Iowa. And
oh.
It's got better prices than Aldi, and better price or better quality than most of the high price stores. It's got mostly national brands, but this is Iowa. Meat is really cheap here, so they have a butcher shop on site with like 10, 15 butchers, and it's just the busiest place you can imagine.
Wow.
So chicken here is cheaper than rice.
Wow. That's crazy.
Yeah, in about a month, we're going to be knee deep in sweet corn. Because when a farmer buys 100 pounds of field corn, the stuff you sell, they usually get a 5-pound bag of sweet corn free. And then the farmers go sell the sweet corn on the corners. 5 pounds of sweet corn seed is actually quite a lot.
Oh, I'm sure it is.
So each year it's getting to be more and more sweet corn seed the farmers get. But I mean, we benefit from it. Every street corner around you can imagine is just as one person selling sweet corn. And sweet corn is really only good for 3 days, which it usually takes more than 3 days for it to get to a grocery store. So we usually get it the day after it's picked here.
Okay. Yeah, so we don't get any of that here.
Yeah. One time we were working, we had an Englishman working with us. And we have these huge cans. I can't remember what they're called, but they're like a gallon of corn. And we call it institutional cans. And we were eating in a factory cafeteria, which is not a 5-star Michelin restaurant. And we all got, one of our spots in our trays had corn in it. This really bad quality of corn. And like hardly any of us were eating our corn. And the English guy's like, "You're not eating your corn?"
Is corn some kind of a yeah. Do the English regard corn as I don't understand the point.
Apparently it's expensive over there.
Yeah, it is.
Not like here.
Yeah,
and again, to us, it was a low quality of corn that was almost not worth eating. And to him, it was a treat. And I think of it as, I always thought they ate better over there.
Well, corn isn't exactly the best thing for you, so maybe it's good that they're not glutted on corn the way
you got to remember, England's not exactly the sunniest place on the planet, so growing corn is would probably be a non-existent type of vegetable, kind of like tropical fruits. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
They think pineapple's great. They love pineapple. I think pineapple's quite an average fruit compared to all the others.
Yeah. I have some kiwi I'm going to start growing.
Nice.
I got kiwi seeds. But England can grow corn. It just doesn't get enough light and heat to grow well.
Oh, yeah, I'm sure it can grow it. And just
they can't pack it in like we do.
No.
There's another stalk every like 4 or 5 inches. And each stalk has a good ear on it. And now they're coming out with ones that have multiple ears that grow. And it's just so much corn grows in our heat and humidity.
Has anyone ever seen the documentary King Corn?
No.
That's definitely, it's worth watching. It goes, basically it tells us that we're basically made out of corn. Like between the corn oils and all of the corn additives in every product in America, our bodies are basically made out of corn, and it goes into the health effects of corn and the effects that corn has on our economy, and it goes into the ethanol scam and all that.
Yeah, the ethanol here is causing major problems with water. It just takes so much water to make ethanol. And not only do you have to grow the corn, which takes water, but the ethanol process. I think one ethanol plant in northern Iowa uses somewhere on the order of 5 million gallons of water per day.
An ethanol plant? I didn't know you could grow ethanol.
Well, they
Ba-dum-bump.
Yeah.
Someone thinks he's funny.
They've tapped the Ogallala aquifer at that time because it's only like 12 feet underground, the Ogallala aquifer at that point, and they've tapped it, and they're sucking so much out of it that everybody's wells are going dry.
Well, it's a net energy loss too, isn't it? By the time you get done producing ethanol, you've used more energy than you'll get out of it.
Yeah, but you're changing the energy from one form where it's not convenient to use to one that is convenient to use. And even electricity. When you store electricity to a battery and pour it back and pull it back out, you only get to use about 25% of what you stored.
Mm-hmm.
Well, the storage process itself wastes about half. So every time we convert an energy source, we pay for it.
Well, the truth is, because of our corn crops, on our corn crops alone, there should be nobody starving in the world.
Yeah, we're going to lose that soon.
Yeah,
we'll be one of the last generations to see this. The next, my kids might even see the end of corn here in Iowa. It might come that soon.
What do you think they'll replace it with, or attempt to replace it with? Wheat?
I don't know that they will. We're going to lose the ability to farm in Iowa in the next few decades.
Well, you can farm in very dry conditions.
Yeah.
You got to pick the right crops.
You have to change the way you farm. And the way that corn grows, it's that outdoor massive ability to just lay in with a tractor to grow so much. That's what makes that work. And I don't know that it'll ever be as efficient growing it any other way.
How far north can almonds grow? Do you know?
No, I don't know.
That's kind of seems to be a money-making crop, comparatively.
Yeah, you'd see, it seems like they would be growing them in the southeast. I just don't know what they're...
Well, there's so many uses for almonds and almond oils and all this stuff. They grow them in the Southwest, but they grow, what's the nut in the Southeast that they grow? It's, they grow peanuts and what else?
But peanuts not a nut.
You're right. But there's some, God damn you, I'm logging off.
I'm trolling your ass.
You've been humiliating me all night, Ryan. I'm done with this shit.
Fuck you, Ryan. You fucking asshole.
Pecans, that's what I'm thinking of.
Oh, they're nice. You know what the best nut in the world is?
What?
Macadamia nut.
Definitely. Definitely.
My nuts?
No one wants to know about your nuts.
When I was in Hawaii, I would grab every bag of macadamia nuts I could get. There's a macadamia nut farm we stopped at. You just get samples. I was trying every one of them.
Well, the other crazy thing about Hawaii is that, like, all the big agro companies used to have plantations in Hawaii, and they tried out all these experimental methods on their plants and whatnot. So on some of these farms, you get nuts that are like the size of a golf ball or a baseball. Nuts that are 200% the size that we're used to.
Wait, are we still talking about my nuts?
Yeah. Okay.
Elephantitis. That's what they call that, right? No, that's not what they call that.
Almonds are a Mediterranean plant. They're a weird one. They need temperatures between 15 and 30 C. That's 59 to 86 Fahrenheit for their growing time. And they have to spend between 300 to 600 hours below 45 degrees Fahrenheit or 7.2 Celsius in order to break dormancy. So every year they have to spend at least 300 to 600 hours below 7.5 degrees.
I was never really a fan of macadamia nuts, but I kind of grew into them after eating a couple, and it just started tasting better and better. But my favorite is still chestnuts. They're my favorite, roasted chestnuts. Nothing beats that for me.
I don't know I've had them.
Oh, you gotta have them.
They're good.
So macadamia nuts are addictive. First, you start with the nuts, then you go to the cookies.
It's
No.
I'm still not for the
Honey-coated macadamias, man. If you can get honey-coated macadamias, holy shit, you're in a different planet.
They're expensive here.
I mean,
because they're Australian, that's why.
To me, I think pistachios are really
Overrated
addictive.
nut.
No.
I love pistachios.
The thing
Crazy.
is, when you eat that really, really good one, you just can't stop.
Yeah.
You just want to keep eating until you find that really good one again. And then you're eating these mediocre ones, and then you eat that really good one. I don't know if they could ever make those perfectly good ones, but I wouldn't stop eating them if I ever found. I mean, that's probably part of the process why you don't stop eating them.
Go to Turkey.
I can easily go through a bag of pistachios in a single sitting.
Yeah.
If you want the best pistachios, go to Turkey.
Turkey?
Oh yeah, dude, they are like greener than the grass. They are just
I was
crazy.
just watching something about that, talking about the pistachio trade, and I cannot for the life of me remember. Have y'all seen anything about that? It was just recently about pistachios and the trade between, I guess, Turkey and, or it might have been Iran. I don't know. It's one of those places, but yeah, it was kind of like oh gosh, I'll have to find it. I'll be back.
All right. Yeah, I never heard of it. It's probably gonna be bad where we don't want to eat pistachios anymore.
Well, it's just kind of like the history of the trade relation with it, about how, this one country, grew them, and then we did our fucked up American shit, and then, just the effects of it.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're probably no longer allowed to import any like pistachios from Iran is what's going on. And then therefore we get less pistachios and the price goes up.
You guys are making me hungry for some nuts. I'll be right back.
Chestnuts make a good meat substitute too. They're filling.
I was gonna be rude then, but I'm not gonna.
Yeah. I put a link to the brand I got hooked on when I was in Hawaii. Oh. They are expensive.
Oh yeah, they're not cheap at all.
Yeah, I came back here. First thing I looked for when I got back was to get a bag, and I'm like, whoa, I can't afford that.
Yeah, they're a rare treat. I don't buy them very often. Sometimes, though, can't help it.
I have to mortgage your house sometimes.
Yep, have to kidnap a kid and sell them. Start selling local pets to labs, things like that, in order to fund my habit.
Gee, you're an asshole.
I know. It's a lot worse than that. That's what I'm admitting to. Imagine what I'm not admitting to.
I don't want to know. La 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 la.
Those flights where you have to go to Hollywood, that's where they trace you down.
Yeah, and Jamarl's going to Turkey at some point, so we should have him bringing back an illegal stash of pistachios if he doesn't get Midnight Expressed.
Dude, he's black. He's going to get jumped at the border.
He's American.
It doesn't matter. He's going to get, even worse.
Yeah.
He's going to get fucked up.
I haven't had a whole lot. I've had very little dealings with Turkish people, but they seem very in-groupish. I could see them being like kind of racist, but who knows? I know that they definitely have a thing against Americans.
My neighbors, when I lived in my old house, were Turkish.
And yet I have hundreds of Turkish followers on Twitter.
How did that happen?
Turkish bots, mate. Turkish bots.
Turkish bots. Yeah. Who knows? So they mostly seem to be Turkish journalists. But no, I've seen nothing nothing bad that they said.
Never befriend a journalist from another country, because then you'll be done as a what is a secret agent or a agent of another whatever, and Donald Trump will try and deport you to somewhere.
Yeah, I suppose.
Isn't that how it works?
But you know, like I said, I mean, I accept, and I don't know why they want to follow me. I have
don't underrate yourself, man.
I have to hit the translate button, but I don't know Turkish.
Did you ever? Something similar happened to me. I had a conversation with a hardcore Japanese right winger, right? And you know, like you have some idea of what I'm like. Like I'll discuss things with people. And then so a whole bunch of these other Japanese right wingers came in to the conversation. Half of them couldn't speak coherent English or type coherent English. And then after that, I had like a bunch of these Japanese right wingers following me. So did you ever have a conversation with somebody from Turkey? And then maybe it got picked up by their peer group?
Not sure if I did or not. I may have answered a couple of them, but just all of a sudden it was just overwhelming, and all of them have been polite. I don't know, no strange ones. All been decent. So you know, I thought, well, I'll accept them. You know, who knows? Maybe someday I'll have a question about Turkey. You know, it's in an amazing area. And I believe they have a food there called baklava.
Yep, made out of pistachios.
Is that made out of pistachios?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's
so
fantastic. I can't eat.
What they do is they get the pastry like paper thin, like even thinner than paper. And when you put your hand underneath, you can actually see your fingerprints. It's that thin. And then they just layer it with pistachio and butter. Pistachio butter, each layer, and then they cook it in a round, big, massive round dish.
Don't forget the honey.
Yeah, no, they do that later. So they've got a honey sugar mix, and they like syrup, and they bring that to the boil in a big copper pot, and then they pull it out, and then they cut the baklava up, and they cut it into rectangles, and then they just drown it in that honey sugar syrup and just absolutely drown it, and then put it on a heat just to get the bottom really, really brown and caramelized. And
you see, that's where I messed up right there, because I tried to make baklava once, and what I did was I put the honey mixture like on it, like when I was layering it. I didn't put it on afterwards, so like it was all burned. The sugar and honey just burn the shit out of it.
Mm-hmm.
So you're supposed to put it on afterwards. That's the key.
Yeah. So you're basically just doing a pastry, pistachio, and butter, like clarified butter combination until it stacks to about an inch and a half. And then see, I know my imperial measurements, mate. Don't you fuck with an Australian. We have to learn both because we have to satisfy the Americans. You know, it's how it is.
Of course.
Our supreme leaders, you know, of the North.
We're a slave race.
Exactly. Anyway, so going off the topic, and then you bring it out and you cut it. That way it opens up the pastry. And then the syrup can actually get sucked in by the nuts and the pastry inside. And then you sit it on an open flame, and then just watch it boil. It's nuts, literally nuts. Get it?
I went to a Turkish restaurant in Elkader, Iowa. You know, no reason why there's a Turkish restaurant in Elkader, but it's just fantastic.
I love Turkish coffee. I can sit there and drink those little cups all day long.
It was a Turkish coffee house.
Yeah. I mean, there's a lot of things. If Turkey was a stable place and Afghanistan was a stable place, these would be great. I mean, look at the way these places were in the 70s.
Well, you know, a large portion of our medical instruments used to be made in Pakistan.
Is there a reason for that?
Well, they would basically give them hunks of stainless steel and a file, and they would actually file them all out. They weren't cut on machine tools. They were handmade. Wow. They were just paid pennies. Just horrible how low they were paid for the craftsmanship they did. But you look at all the hemostats and everything they used to make, they all used to say Pakistan on them.
That part of the world was headed in somewhat of the right direction at one point.
Well, I mean, how could they not hate us for paying a penny to make a hemostat? Yeah. You know, in a medical first grade, first use hemostat would be, 20 years ago, $30. Ones they would sell to a second, a non-medical grade hemostat would even still be up to about $10.
Yeah, our relationship with Pakistan and India and the interplay between us and those two has just gotten stranger and more chaotic over the years. Bear in mind that like India used to be like a Russian satellite in many senses.
Yeah, but I'm more concerned with India than I am war-wise than I am with China. India is going to have their back against the walls pretty soon with climate change. It's hitting them very hard because of where they are and how they're shaped. And they are busting with people. And pretty soon they've got to feed and water these people. And one of the big problems with Japan pre-World War II was that they had all these people. And they felt, that they had the technical knowledge to take land, and they tried to. I'm concerned what India will do. I don't think India will attempt to attack
Pakistan.
I don't think they'll try to attack China. I think they might not try to do anything with Arabia or Pakistan, but I would not be surprised if India invades part of Africa soon. As they start
Africa?
Yeah, as they start needing area. They're going to have
history goes all the way back before Gandhi. Like if you remember Gandhi's early history, he was part of I think the Indian National or the Indian African National Congress, I think it was called. And that's where he got his start. So they've had decades worth of building up influence and building up all the connections they need to possibly do something. Like, where are you thinking that they'll try to? I mean, are you talking about like a land invasion?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
I don't know if we'd allow
India
that.
needs to lose 400 million people somehow. They don't want to kill them. They're going to want to use them to acquire other resources.
So
a conventional war with Pakistan is not out of the realm of possibility.
I don't think they could have a conventional war with Pakistan.
See, that's the problem. Is that, it might start out as a conventional war.
Yeah, whatever happens, pretty soon they're going to pull out the big guns.
Because they've been shoving a lot of their excess population up north. So, and then of course, they've been drowning people out with dams and what have you. So,
and the central part of India is becoming uninhabitable.
The economic systems themselves are almost designed to kill people in many ways. The level of privatization and you compare that with the level of poverty of most citizens.
So if you look at Somalia, which doesn't have a very cohesive government, correct?
Somalia, yeah. I mean, it's always in chaos.
Right. An organized takeover would be pretty feasible, I think, in Somalia.
Well, you could set up a proxy state and then start shipping Indians in as migrants. Like you could do something like that. But as far as them taking like the Indian army over there and invading Somalia, I don't think that's going to happen.
Yeah. So I really don't know Kenya well. And I don't know Ethiopia well.
The impression I get about, I've got a friend who goes over there and helps kids, is that a lot of it is just wide open. And really the major political influence in that region isn't Kenya, it's Uganda.
Mm-hmm.
Like Kenya is kind of the backwaters of Uganda in a sense.
Well, only southern Somalia is worthwhile resource-wise. The rest of it's complete desert. Ethiopia, the western half of it, looks pretty green.
Now that's a place I would love to visit, is Ethiopia. I mean, we're talking about sites from prehistory that people aren't really familiar with. Everyone goes to all these other sites or whatever, but there was a very old Christian tradition in Ethiopia, for example, and there's all kinds of crazy churches and monuments and all this stuff. But of course, it's in ruin. Country's in shambles. People are starving. I just can't see India just blatantly moving armies outside of India and into Africa. If they want to move their population to acquire resources, they'll do it through creating a proxy state in Africa. And then all of a sudden there will be an Indian upper class in it within 20 years.
There already is an Indian upper class.
Yeah. But you might see the possibility of an Indian president. Like you saw something similar with like Japanese people in South America. They've had a couple of presidents. What was the
Peru?
Yeah, Peru.
No, Ecuador.
Was it Ecuador or I think it was Peru, but
I can't remember which of the two, but one of the two was large portion of the population has Japanese ancestry.
So we could see something like that happen. The question is if, China, the U.S., mostly China and the U.S., and to a degree Russia would greenlight such an action. Because you just can't do that on your own. There would be consequences. But it's possible that they could greenlight it in the interest of global security, because like you said, India is blowing up. Something has to be done.
Yeah, what I suspect will happen is they'll try to immigrate here and to Europe. And pretty soon, Europe has had enough with immigration, I think. Ryan, am I wrong? You probably have another unfiltered news version over there.
Yeah. England's had enough. Europe's pretty much had enough.
Yeah, I don't think they would, if 100 million Indians wanted to move to Europe, I think Europe would throw the doors closed.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't think that
Germany took 800,000 when they had that mass migration.
And yeah, then the political ramifications are hitting them back, where nobody will be able to do that again.
No.
Yeah, the doors are already closing.
And United States hardly took any. We take 16.
Yeah, I think that's where a lot of people are really pissed off. because America are generally the ones who are considered to have started the war,
Mm-hmm.
and they're not willing to take their fair share.
Yeah, well, we didn't take 16,000. I think we took 16.
You took about 1,500 from us.
Oh, we did?
Yeah, as a deal with Barack Obama.
We took them from you guys?
Yeah. Donald Trump tried to stop it.
Okay. But
Yeah,
we didn't take them.
Donnie Trump tried to stop it. So,
well, I mean, Australia's already had that colony offshore to try to stem the tides.
Yeah, the one that keeps making it into the media. Ryan, you and I discussed that place one night.
Yeah. It's Nauru.
Nauru.
Yeah.
But I don't see Canada taking that many more people. I mean, Canada takes a lot more than we do. But even pretty soon, Canada's going to close the door. Canada's fine if they're millionaires. I don't think Canada's going to like the people that don't have an education.
Yeah. Well, we're at the moment, we've got a guy at the moment in charge of all that, and he's a fucking dickhead. But they're quite content with keeping them. I shouldn't say them. Quite content with keeping the refugees where they are, which to most of us is quite disgusting.
The conditions, they're unacceptable from what I've read.
Yep.
Policy management, unacceptable. Like, you can't keep children in those kinds of conditions.
Mm-mm.
Well, I mean, where do you send them to? You don't send them anywhere. What you should do is try to integrate them into Australia, because sending them back to Indonesia or some shit is often a death sentence. Like, that stuff never really stopped. The stuff that went on in the 60s and 70s, I mean, there was still like a lot of violence. So what kind of future do these people have? Send them back to some other nation so they can go to work in a hellhole like Saipan?
Yeah. I just, people are just pissed off with America, not, that the idea that America is happy to bomb these places but not to take in the people that they displace is the major issue.
Now, I know. And now, what happens if we have to start evacuating states in the United States? I think even some of our other states are going to, object to, let's say, Oklahoma having to move to Texas. Pretty soon the Texans are going, why are they coming here?
Well, even within the same state, you see that phenomena. Like here, like there's always been talk of all these, like when the shit goes down, a bunch of the people from the lower part of the state flooding up here in order to escape the chaos. So, and that's been a topic for years up here. So, yeah.
Yep.
People don't like their stuff taken away, or think that it might get taken away. I think actually that's part of the reason why they placed the military bases up here the way they have. Because if you look at the northern lower peninsula of Michigan, you'll see an air base in Traverse City. Now, a couple of these bases are closed down, but they could easily be reopened on a dime. Then you'll see one in Gaylord, and then you'll see another one in Alpena. And so you've got a line that goes straight across the state there. And on the upper side of the Mackinac Bridge, you see the K.I. Sawyer base, which is closed down. Or that's the Kinross. It was Kinross. Sorry, the Kinross Air Base. And then in Marquette, you had K.I. Sawyer, which was the SAC base. So it's like they created a perimeter around this area of military bases. I think part of it is to prevent mass chaos, like to secure this part of the country from the lower part. It's an excellent defensible position. If you exclude modern technology, you have to understand they built these bases a while ago. So I think if that goes down, of course, we are military and government already has a plan to section off parts of the country so people aren't free to move around like that.
Mm-hmm.
If there's an evacuation, it'll be a coordinated evacuation. And my guess is there won't be an evacuation unless it's completely crazy. They'll just let the people rot like they did in Flint.
They don't care, man.
No, they don't. It's easier just to cordon it off, whatever it is.
Yeah. So I'm learning how to use this new program from Adobe. It's called XD. And what it is, it's I'll share it. Hang on. Just let me move it. I'll move it over here. So basically what it is it's an application to create mock-ups of applications, phone apps and websites and stuff. So if I just go here, and I'm really, really liking it. So if I go here, nope, wrong one. Yeah.
Have you been using it for anything, or you just been playing with it?
Oh no, I'm using it. So I don't know if can you see it?
Now I can.
Yeah, XD. It's got calendar and calendar. Is that what you're seeing?
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay,
Laura
cool.
Epsom, Deloro.
Yeah. Yeah, that's just fake text.
Yeah.
Yeah. So going back, so this is basically what each page looks like. It's not fully functional, so you don't put in like passwords and stuff like that. It just gives people an idea of what it should look like. So you just put in a few functionality. So it's just like a matter of pressing buttons. So you go to prototype and you'll see that this page is linked to this page, right?
Yep.
And
to
then
the password.
yeah, and then so this will be a loading screen, and then it fades. It like goes for 5 seconds, and then it comes to here, and then you click on the next one, and enter is actually at the wrong. So hang on, let me just change that. So you just grab these little blue anchor bits.
And it just links it to whatever page you want.
So just let me go back to here. And then it'll link to this page. And then this page links to calendar, right? And then this calendar links to this page, which is this, right? And then if I just show you an example, this little one.
So you can key it to the date. That's cool.
Yeah, so it's the red box that I'm clicking it to. So then you go to play. I don't know. Can you see the play?
My thing might be in the way.
No, it should. Hang on, I might have to. Hang on, stop. I might have to change it. Hang on. Where are we? Yeah, I had to change it because it opens it up in another window. So here's the app itself. So you click it. It comes to here. You can click enter. You can go to calendar, and then you click on that. Brings that up, and it brings that up. And this will be like the
some
next
notes
some notes on what's happening that day, and it'll be like a exit button, and then that exit button will take you back to here. Will take you back to back to the calendar. So you just loop all those backwards and forwards, so until you get them all linked in. So all the buttons will show. So you might have, to do an example, you might have 15 options on one page of the app. So you have to have 15 separate windows, and it'll just link, and it just goes through to each window.
Nice. It's pretty user friendly. It looks like.
Yeah,
Just
man.
drag and click.
Yeah.
So what was that called?
It's called XD. It's in the cloud. It's new.
It's a good tool. Like
Yeah.
super easy to use.
Yeah, man. It's like drag, drop. You know, if you want to put pictures in, you can put pictures in. Stuff like that. It's really not that bad. You know what I mean?
Yeah, like, and if you had some kind of webinar or something on one day, you could just put the link in there and everyone on the specific date and time. And does it do time? Or would you have to write in the time?
No, you have to write it in.
All right.
Yeah, it's not that functional. It's just so it's viewable. You know what I mean?
Still good though.
Give people ideas. So, yeah, I'm really enjoying it. And then what you can do, I'll show you this also, is you can download presets. So hang on, just let me share again. Whoops, where did that go? There. Just let me get that. So share screen.
So presets as in if you have a specific type of event or action.
No, presets as in like what your Apple can look like.
I see.
So if I just zoom in, so if you want like this to pop up, if the username or password is incorrect, you know, shadowing and all those other different types of things. Yeah, you can really go to town. Like there's heaps of people who have done these are called UI kits. So, you know, like here's a website. If I just hang on, I'm just still learning the keys of scrolling. See, there's a website making of it. No, sorry, that's a tablet. So
you can change the font and everything. I see on the side there, and
yep, you can do real basic. You know, here's another tablet. That's a tablet 9. That's a tablet 7. That's a mobile dark. You know, and the presets, so you can like what you're trying to show programmers and stuff where you want stuff.
I just installed it.
Yeah, it's fantastic. You'll love it, Snork. You'll love it. It's
it's that easy on the cloud. It's just like you look over, pulled up my Adobe Creative Cloud, it was sitting there in bright blue, and I just clicked on it, and almost instantly it was installed.
Yeah, you love it. It's a really good program.
I'm already paying for it.
Yeah, you're already paying for it, so you might as well mess around with it.
I'll be right back.
All right, man. He's going to play with it now.
No, potty break.
Oh, okay. So, yeah.
It's cool. I have no use for it, but it's cool.
No,
there was a time when I probably would have found that extremely useful, but as it stands now.
Yeah, I mean, it's really good. I'm finding it really, really useful. 15. Oh, what's this one? 13. You know, it's just real basic. You can upload it onto your website as well, so people can click through it on your website. So you can say, "This is the upcoming app. What do you think?" You know,
and they can click, and if you wanted to, there will be an update on X day, and then they could just get the updates from.
Yeah, and you can give each screen a number. And then when somebody finds an error, you can have a comment on your website and say, well, what page number is the error on and what is the error? So, yeah,
Very nice, man.
It's cool. It's really good. So I'm enjoying it, and it's exactly what I wanted. So
Super user friendly.
damn
Drag and
straight.
drop.
Yep, drag and drop, man. Drag and drop and edit, basic text editing, formatting. You know, if you can use Paint, then you're halfway there to using this program. You know what I mean? It's that simple. And then you just have to get your head around layering, how programs use layers. So, and then once you got your head around that, you're off to the races.
I used to make Neverwinter Nights 2 modules that use those types of pathways. Super, like, user-friendly pathways.
Yep. Yep. Really easy. Nothing strenuous or hard about it, you know. And then you can just go to your client and say, well, this is how I think your site should run, and this is a basic example of what will happen when you run your program. And then you can turn around and say, well, what do you think? And if somebody, you know, they can mess around with it and send you some feedback.
And it can facilitate the development of open software. You know, makes it super easy to do that. Like for a group of people, again, all you're doing is drag, click, drop, check the date, click the link.
And you can just drag in the prototype. You can just drag all the links. You know, you can have, you know, little things on the screen, and you know, that aren't visible to you or the user, but they're actually there. You know, like a developer button. You know what I mean? So sort of like, so it makes it easier for people to, like, developers and stuff. So.
Yeah, software development has come to the masses in a giant way. It's been like that for quite a few years now, and it's only getting better and easier as time goes on.
Yep, sure is, and I'm loving it.
I'm loving it.
I'm absolutely loving it. I think it's great. This shit didn't come soon enough for me, I don't reckon.
See, I wish they would come out with another version of that Aurora tool set, like a modernized version of the Aurora tool set that was used to make Neverwinter Nights 2, because I loved making those modules.
I think sometimes the better part of doing things is actually making stuff. You know what I mean? In a game. Yeah. You know, you've played through it, and your idea of how you think the game should sort of flow is, and then letting other people experience that.
Yeah, like way back in the day, I would build Command and Conquer maps for my buddies to play, because I'd build them at night or something rather than play the game. I'd just build a module, and then I would, like if they wanted to play it, they could play it. There was like 3 of us living in that apartment. I did the same thing with the Shogun games. The Total War games had a little bit of that. It wasn't very good, but it was decent, so I made some of those. But my favorite of all time was the Neverwinter Nights Aurora tool set model. Yeah. And they used Aurora for all kinds of things, like teaching applications and all of that. I just, you're not seeing whatever modern version of that out there being applied to, end user game creation options. Did you ever play Neverwinter Nights 2?
Nah. I was very much a console gamer for the majority of my earlyhood. Yeah.
It's a great game, man. Great game. So many options.
Mm-hmm. I'm just trying to think. You know, you sit here and you do like one page, and then you think, shit, I've got to do another one for that. And then I've got to do another one for that. All the variables of what can happen. You know what I mean?
It's fun though. Like that's why I like, because I would create like the whole, like the dialogue and everything for these modules.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And so every time someone says something or an action is possible, like you get 3 other branches coming off of that. So yeah.
Mm-hmm.
After a while, you try to figure out a way to make the games interesting without getting totally out into the weeds.
Yeah.
Or you're spending like, 400 or 500 hours trying to develop a module.
Yeah. It just now I'm thinking like I need at least another 5 bloody pages for this calendar, and I'm just the first one. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Oh no, I lie. I'm thinking because I've got to do it. I'm thinking too far ahead of myself.
And then those will branch off. You'll think of something else once you.
Yep.
So you just have to learn to confine yourself.
Pretty much. I'm just thinking like, how do I input an appointment? And then I realized I've got an appointments tab. So yeah. Okay, so I need to do one for that.
Garden, have you noticed a marked decrease in the amount of telemarketing calls you've had?
No, I don't receive telemarketing calls. Like once in a while I do. In fact, if I had to measure it over the course of a month, I would say that there's been an increase, not a decrease. But I don't get many.
I'm not getting any anymore.
Speculation. Why could that be? Is the industry dying?
I wasn't sure. It coincided with when I put my father in the nursing home. I think somehow the scam network knows. and they were calling this address thinking that there was a, somebody with Alzheimer's here. I could try to talk them into anything.
What kind of companies are calling?
Well, they were. We'd constantly get ones trying to extend the warranty on his pickup truck. He had a 2011 Chevy Silverado. They call up, your warranty's ending soon. We need to extend your warranty if you want to keep it. Yeah, I'm trying to think what some of the other scams were. But, there were people that weren't anywhere involved with GM at all saying they were.
It's disgusting how these companies prey on, the infirm like that. There are some real horror stories out there about older people who aren't exactly all there getting ripped off by these telemarketers. But I don't know. Like, I haven't really seen a major change in it. But I've always just kind of, been careful about where I put my real phone number. Like if it's, let's say I'm ordering a pizza and like the website asks me to put in my phone number.
Mm-hmm.
Like I'll put in a fake phone number. Like I do stuff like that. Unless it's an absolute necessity, I never give out my real information. So I think that's kind of limited, the amount of that crap that I get. I'm always quick to be rude and dismissive with them when they do call, and I demand, even though it's ineffectual, like I demand to be put on the no call list.
Oh yeah, that doesn't fucking work for anyone.
Maybe they have records of the fact that, like, you know, they if they the other part of it is my credit like went to shit like after I got a divorce, so that could be another reason. They look at my credit score, they're like, this is pointless. I never thought of it that way, but that could be a reason. That is so damaging to your credit. Don't get married and divorced in the U.S.
Oh, really?
Just don't do it. Yeah.
Just getting divorced ruins your credit?
It damages it like quite a bit, and depending on how things pan out, it can really damage it. Depending on how many assets you get out of the divorce. If you're like me, you didn't get many. Let's see. Divorce and your credit score. Let's see exactly what it does. We'll open up the page instead of just taking me back to that page over and over again. And that page, by the way, was I was looking at the effect of meditation on Alzheimer's, because it was, you know, there was some discussion of that in the chat, and there's evidence to suggest it helps. But onto the new topic, divorce and credit scores. Let's see how divorce can impact your credit score by Experian, which of course is one of the major credit reporters in the United States. If not, does Experian serve internationally? Do they serve international clients? I'm not sure. They don't affect them directly, rather the financial issues that are embroiled in the divorce process. Okay, so maybe I was a bit imprecise there. It affect it's not the divorce itself that affects it.
Well, I mean, if it affects your income or how much your income you get to keep.
Yeah. So also, like, I have all kinds of crazy issues. I was always very, very good with my money. Very good with it. Like, I never had an overdue credit card. Like, I had, I paid off my student debt. It's just they find a way to rope you in no matter what, it seems. Whether it's medical bills or tax bills or, just the constant dings to your credit score. I don't believe in a credit and speculation-based economy. Well, and I try to live under those principles.
I'm opposed to the stocks in the stock market not being tied to a portion of ownership of the companies they represent. To me, that's just like having a bunch of horses and saying this one represents this city, this one represents that city. Really, if I were to buy stock in something, I want that to be a portion of the ownership of the company.
And by that you mean you have a say in its operations?
Say in its operation. If there's 5,000 shares and I own a share, I should own 1/5,000th of the company.
So you want to democratize it?
Well, no, I want to tie it. Right now, it's basically a stock is just an account number that has the name of the company. That's the only relationship it has to it at all, unless you get a special stock that actually has ownership. And I don't believe that those stocks should be moved to a position of gambling. and the stocks that are partial ownership should be the only ones that are allowed to be traded publicly.
Well,
Otherwise, why are we fighting Bitcoin? Is there any difference between Bitcoin and the stocks that aren't tied to a company?
Well, in a sense, there isn't. In another sense, I mean,
The Bitcoin's more honest.
Well, yeah, I mean, the Bitcoin doesn't have the force of an army behind it, I suppose.
Well, yeah, really, the stock shouldn't either then.
Yeah, the electronic currency, I don't know if we should switch over to, I wouldn't want to see massive amounts of people switch over to using Bitcoins. Not at this stage. Seems like it's just too easily manipulated. And people, and the reason why is because people don't know enough about it, myself included. Like there's all kinds of these, Bitcoin clones out there that people are buying that just end up being nothing. They go nowhere. So it wouldn't just be Bitcoin competing in that. You'd have all these crazy different kinds of currencies, and you'd be trying to trade them back and forth.
Well, I can't stay up late tonight. I have to get this proposal for the project done, or it's never going to happen.
All right, so you're presenting that
as soon as I can.
So is this going to be are you going to teleconference with them?
No, this is something I want to do a GoFundMe for a large water project.
Yeah, this is for the water project we were discussing the other night, right? So are you, when you say you have to have the proposal ready, are you presenting it then?
Well, the proposal, I consider the entire package I want to put up for GoFundMe.
Oh, I see. The GoFundMe proposal. Sorry.
Yeah. Then if we get the money, start setting it up, and I want to be honest with the people. Plan on reinvesting some of it into the next phase, which is controlled environment farming in the areas we put in the water. So like for West Virginia, once the coal's gone, got all these hard-working people in a perfect area for controlled environment farming. And
it sounds like you were saying that you just want to bypass a lot of the bureaucracy, but
that's it. I just want to prove that you can get clean water to people, and then also provide education to the people that you can't, in a chain, you can't just fix one link.
So
if you did want to fix just one link, you'd bypass all the rest and just go to the end.
So you want to. So have you had any contact because the county will probably come in and start, if you're doing this in multiple towns, it'll be a county. If you're doing it in one, it'll be the town and the county maybe. But someone will probably step in and be like, what are you doing here?
Yeah.
Like, what do you do at that point?
Mm-hmm.
So what's your solution to that?
Our idea is that we will be contacting some cities soon. I don't see any cities fighting it.
It might be best if you want to get some serious, backers to go to these, local governments beforehand and be like, hey, this is what we're going to do. Do we have your seal of approval? I mean, because that's going to be one of the first questions that a big donor is going to ask is, are they just going to stop you?
We're not going for individual donors. We're just going to crowdsource.
Well,
otherwise it's going to get out of control. But we don't need a lot of cash, and I can't see anybody going to be willing to turn it down or fight it that still wants to be reelected the next election.
So you have a way to
Yeah, it'll be the only job.
You have some kind of public relations wing that's going to.
Right. But again, this will be, when it hits a town knowledge wise, I don't foresee anybody that's wants to have the town's backing to win the next election. I can't see them wanting to turn it down.
So, I mean, what as far on that front, like, do you have representatives in office who are willing to support your project in some way?
Not yet.
Because if you just simply say that,
right, so
it'll cost them the next election.
Yeah,
I mean,
we're
what do
still
you have
working
to back
on
that up?
Still working on the backup. So
it's just, I mean, how would you be able to affect public opinion to the point to sway voters in the way that you're suggesting?
Town hall meetings.
Well, to put it all together, man. Like, it definitely sounds worthwhile. I'm always the devil's advocate, and I'm always looking for problems. So,
hey, people can go out there and ask for a $54 million jet.
Water project. I'm in Monte Carlo.
Yeah, I need my fourth $54 million jet. Compared to, I'd like to make it safe for your children to drink, and afterwards make sure that you have a job.
Is it, I mean, would it just be possible maybe to have like 2 or 3 test houses to demonstrate on a small scale that it works?
Yeah, I mean, that's not a problem. The issue is getting a large group of people to understand and showing that a large portion of the town's people in poverty can have it. Because right now the issue is these technologies exist. We're trying to clean them up a little bit, but basically the technologies are well proven. It's just that the people who need it the most can't afford it.
And there will be politics involved in this at some point.
Oh yeah,
like either in the beginning or for sure if it advances. And if it were to advance to a certain point, it would straight up be under attack. Like so
that's why we're not. Yeah, one of the reasons we're not starting with Flint, Michigan. I don't think we could even do anything in Michigan.
Well, put it together. I think I'm going to go to bed. I'm pretty damn tired.
Yeah. Don't you think that they're going to fight anything you try to do to show that water can be cleaned in Flint, Michigan?
Well, it's the same with anything. Any of these initiatives that are going to challenge whatever paradigm they have in that area. Mm-hmm. Like, they're going to fight it. I mean, they might we'll let them play their little games, and they might try to use you for PR. They'll be like, the county supports this. This is an innovative initiative. And then the next thing you know, you've got like these levies and people are demanding permits from you, and you're getting accused of poisoning kids or whatever. Yeah. We'll prove it later.
I mean, I think most of the public think there isn't a problem with pollution.
That's it. That's part of the reason why you have to have town halls. You have to show them what's in it. Why? They don't understand. I mean, people have been drinking water for billions of years. 6,000. Why do we need clean water now?
People used to drink water on the backs of dinosaurs.
I have to get my son tested tomorrow again. His lead levels in his blood was high, so I have to figure out what it is. I have to test the water here for the lead levels. I think it's mostly the paint dust.
Did you already get a water filter?
Yeah, but he doesn't drink water. He's an infant. Oh, he crawls around. Most likely also the daycare. It's just old houses.
It's frustrating. Is it? It's just not a one problem thing.
Yeah.
You got to fix this, then you got to fix that, and you got to fix that. But that doesn't mean that we have to stop fixing them.
Yeah, I know.
Exactly.
Yeah, but the public gets this idea, well, we've had that paint in that kind of houses for 80 years.
They're more focused on sexism, racism. I don't know. This whatever the media puts out that they gotta
Trump.
Yeah, Trump.
Yeah,
It's Trump's fault your kid has high lead levels, Ebon.
you're a sexist since you voted for Jill Stein.
I know.
Now, when you bought that house, there should have been, lead disclaimer and all that shit, right?
Yeah, we knew there's paint, lead in the paint, and asbestos, and all this other stuff. And, it's stuff we can fix. I mean, not remove, but just kind of limit. But they just want to see how much lead content, I guess, is in its bloodstreams.
What kind of air filtration do you have?
Not really. I mean, I have some HEPA filters in the rooms. But that's not enough for any of the air that goes up there.
And there's places that will clean your ducts. It's expensive.
Oh, I've been cleaning. I cleaned the ones upstairs, but I still need cleaning the main room, and I still need the
ducts themselves.
Yep.
You have a rotor and a vacuum?
Not a rotor or a vacuum. It's all hand and pushed and curved, and it's it pretty much takes me like a full day just to clean one.
That's probably as good as the ones that just blow hot air through your. There's ones where they're basically a great big vacuum cleaner on a truck. They come up and they hook into one of yours and they blow all your stuff backwards for a couple hours.
Yeah.
On the off chance there might be like a city or state grant that you can get. There still might be some of those floating around in some city in America.
Yeah,
might be worth looking into.
Eventually I'll be replacing everything. I mean, a lot of things around the house. There's a possibility, depending on how my finances and ideas go, products or next. So there's a little plot of land right next to us. I guess enough for a small house, like half the size of like our lot. Someone bought it a couple years ago. I don't know if it's a couple, but for like 25 grand. So there's a possibility we might see about purchasing that, and that's where I would set up just kind of a smaller place. My Erica would put in like chickens and whatnot. Maybe I'll get like an old used RV, and we were there for a little while, and then fix up parts of the house. And I don't know. There's just options. A lot of possibilities. Yeah,
and you can get some decent RVs in this area cheap.
Oh, I know. Yeah, I've seen them.
Decent RVs. I mean, like, why do people have an RV like that? But again, it's just piece after piece, and just going in and replacing the room takes care of the lead.
Yeah.
But
it's also tough because I don't want to remove parts of the house and all this lead stuff being in the soil where we're actually, gardening and stuff.
There is a new motherboard out. That's
Vice motherboard.
It's a ROG. It handles 20 Asus. It handles 20 GPUs.
Why? Just for mining.
Yeah, I know. Garden house, 20 GPUs.
I mean, yeah.
You can live in a tent.
Lots of people set up like a RV or something while they're remodeling their house, dude.
Yeah.
You see that a lot.
Yeah. I mean,
in Omaha, there are RVs that are really cheap that are like luxury homes.
Yeah. I don't know why
some of these things blow my mind.
You have to pay somebody with a big pickup to go haul it over and drop it at your house.
I mean, I would just rent a pickup. And
And these fifth wheel trailers, they're almost as long as trucks.
Yeah. It'll be interesting when I go looking for them. If I could convince my wife, like, because it's either that or just find a new place to mortgage, and then like, it's just no, I don't know. It's just more work because I'd find something else wrong and we'd have to fix it. And I'd rather like starting from scratch or tearing apart something and putting something new and better.
Yeah. And
well, there's also no real harm in putting your house on the market for like more than its value and just letting it sit there. And if someone makes an offer, well, there you go.
Yeah.
You know, so there's no harm in that either. If like you're actually thinking that removing these things is going to be damn near impossible or whatever.
Well, I think we're for a couple of bad years of finances. After that, things should start picking up again. I think 2022, 2021, we should start really picking up in the economy again. And that's about how long it's going to take you to fix up the house, right?
Yeah.
I mean, so that's right on target. But tomorrow, watch the news. Chrysler might go out of business tomorrow.
That what might go out of business tomorrow? Chrysler might go out of business. There's been some talk of that. Like, do you think it's going to be like that fast?
Special meeting tomorrow, yeah.
I wonder. Chrysler is no longer too big to fail. You know, of course, none of the U.S. automakers. I mean, but they did. Who did they bail out again just a couple of years ago?
Well, they bought.
Was it GM or Ford?
Oh, it was all three of them.
Yeah. It was all of them.
All of them.
Yeah.
So what their exact plans are, we'll find out tomorrow. But they're having a big meeting tomorrow, and there's all these cars on the lots across the country that aren't selling. No reason the car plant's open.
No one has money to buy new ones, and they just break down too fast. And there's more money that goes into that. It's like they made this economy. It went from the days where almost nothing broke down and they weren't selling enough to now where everything breaks down fast, but now no one can afford to keep replacing them. So now they're in the same spot. No one is buying. So you need that balance. You need to make it as good as you can. And eventually things will wear it down, like the infrastructure, the roads, the potholes, all that stuff, the acid rain. Yeah, that stuff was work down eventually.
Planned obsolescence.
I got to get going. I get some work done. See you guys.
Same here. Early night. Yeah. Good night, everybody.
Good night.
Good night.
Thanks. Ooh, yeah.